In another incredible story that Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu he narrates, so that you can understand how the sadaqah would come and save you in a desperate time. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu he narrates a story about a man from Bani Israel. He says, إن راهبا في بني إسرائيل عبد الله في صومعته 60 عاما. There was a man, a priest, a worshipper. He worshipped Allah in his worship house, in his temple, for 60 years. He's worshipping Allah في صومعته, in his temple for 60 years. فجاءت امرأة فنزلت إلى جانبه. So after 60 years, a woman decided to move next door to him. So she moved next door. فنزل إليها, going up and down the street. One day he got caught up. He came to her house. فوقع بها 6 ليال, and he committed zina with her for 6 nights. Imagine this, 60 years of worship. And then he met this woman that moved into the neighborhood for a few days, and then he had an illegal relationship with her, الزنا والعياذ بالله, for 6 nights. ثم أسقط في يده فهرب. أسقط في يده meaning فندم. He regretted what he did and he ran away. فأتى المسجد فاعتكف. He came to the masjid and he performed i'tikaf in the masjid. He just sat there. He's regretting what he did. So a man came to him and he gave him a loaf of bread. And he took it. فكسره نصفين. He tore it into 2 halves. فأعطى الرجل عن يمينه شقا والرجل عن شماله شقا. He gave the guy on his right and the person on his left half. And from this bread he gave this guy half and he gave this person half. فجاءه ملك الموت. The angel of death came to this person. فقبض روحه. He took his soul. Now his deeds are going to be presented on the scale before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is mentioning this as a story. For then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam he says, فوضعت 60 سنة في كفة. 60 years of worship were put in one side of the scale. And 6 nights of zina were put in the other side of the scale. So the 6 nights of zina outweighed the 60 years of worship. The person is in destruction. Then the 1 loaf of bread came and it was added to the 60 years of worship. And it outweighed the 6 days of a zina. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave him. شوف الصدقة, what was it? أمطار ضخ. It was something small, it was a fraction of what Allah Azza wa Jal had given him, and it saved him from the fire. فthen Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he said, Ya Nabi Allah, فإن كان فقيرا لا يجد ما يرضخ. How about if a person was poor and he doesn't find even a small fraction to give fi sabilillah? What does he do? شوف الصبر. Look at the sabr of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this companion. He's saying, I can't. So now he's answering him. He's saying then, قال يأمر بالمعروف وينهى عن المنكر. Fair enough. If he doesn't have anything to give, then الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. Enjoin the good and forbid the evil. That's one deed that would save you from Jahannam. And the greatest ma'roof that you can call the people to, the greatest good that you can call them to, is the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to declare the oneness of Allah azza wa jal. Especially in a time like this where we come to the Christmas season and the New Year's season, in where we find Muslims that don't want to accept that this is a form of shirk, or at least a form of, or a major sin that they fall into. فَأَمْرٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَنَهْيٌ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and forbid the evil. And the greatest evil that one could forbid is the association of partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And my brothers in Islam, you need to understand that al-amru bil-ma'roof wa nahi anil munkar is the greatest pillar in Islam, one of the greatest pillars in Islam. Our ummah was only the greatest ummah to ever exist because it enjoins the good and forbids the evil, as Allah Azza wa Jalla said, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. Why? تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. That we were the greatest ummah to ever be brought out to mankind because of the fact that we enjoin the good and forbid the evil. This is why al-ulama, they said, enjoining the good and forbidding the evil is fard. It's an obligation. And the obligations are of 2 types. They said this one is a fard kifayah. It's a communal obligation. Meaning that if some were to do it, then the rest of the ummah is spared from the sin. And if no one was to do it, then everyone is sinful. Well, you know, this is very scary reality. You need to understand something. That if the people of knowledge did not do their work in enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, if they stopped altogether, we can understand why they're sinful. Because they had something they can offer it to the people and they held back. We understand why they're sinful. But why is the rest of the ummah sinful? Why is even the most ignorant person sinful? Why? You know why? Because the rest of the ummah was supposed to support and encourage those who knew to teach the people. They should have supported them. They should have stood behind them. They should have encouraged them and motivated them and remained behind them and remained students of them, learning from them. This is why the rest of the ummah becomes sinful. We need to understand the reality of what al-amr bil-ma'ruf wal-nahy an al-munkar is. فالصحابي رضي الله عنه, this Sahabi, he said, قلت يا نبي الله إن كان لا يستطيع أن يأمر بالمعروف ولا أن ينهى عن المنكر. What if I couldn't enjoin the good and forbid the evil? When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted this question, what does that mean? It means there are circumstances in where people are not obliged to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. Sometimes you enjoining the good could do more harm than any good. So you keep away from it. For Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted this question. And he said to him, فَلْيُعِنِ الْأَخْرَقِ. If you can't do that, then I'll teach you something else that saves you from the fire. فَلْيُعِنِ الْأَخْرَقِ. Help the one that is less privileged. Al-Akhraq is the one who has no job, is the one who perhaps is a special needs patient, where he cannot work. Help him, give him some help, or support the organization that supports him. Well, now we have a lot of this in our days. Many special needs patients. Now in the holidays, they got nowhere to go. No one takes them anywhere. No one shares with them even a conversation. You know, put in aged care or in special need cares or in this facility or in that facility, and no one even looks at them. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is telling us, looking after the less privileged is a deed that saves you from the fire. Shuf, my brothers and sisters in Islam, this hadith doesn't leave anyone today that you leave out the door and you say, I got nothing to do. Every single one of us has something to do to save you from the fire. But that's only if you're serious about being saved from the fire. He said to him, فَلْيُعِنِ الْأَخْرَقِ. Go and help someone that is less privileged. Help someone out. According to your means, according to your budget. You don't have to go out of your way. Do something for someone. Put some happiness into someone if you know someone is doing it tough out there. Find someone, do something good. You know, there are parents that have children that are autistic children. And they have a tough and a hard time dealing with their children. This is from فَلْيُعِنِ الْأَخْرَقِ. Go and sit with these people. Have a conversation with them. See what kind of trouble do they go through with their children. Have a better understanding of it. Raise awareness about it. All of it is from the hasanat and the good deeds that Allah Azza wa Jal would save such a person from the fire.